Good morning, students. Today we are going to see about 7th standard social science history unit for the Delhi Sultanate. The learning objectives are Turkish sultans of various dynasties who ruled India from Delhi, the military conquest and extension of sovereignty, administration of the Delhi Sultanate, art and architecture of this period. They succeeded in seizing political control of the Gangetic Plain by the next century. Though the success of their conquest could be attributed to their atrocity and ferocity, their success is really due to the failure of Indians to defend themselves and their territories. Indians viewed each other with distrust, failing to take note of the success of Islam in early years of its spread. The superior military might of Muslim soldiers was yet another factor that contributed to success in their conquest. In this lesson, we discuss how Turkish warriors set about founding and consolidate their Islamic rule till the advent of Babur. The dynasties are Slave dynasty, Ghalji dynasty, Tughlaq dynasty, Said dynasty and Lodi dynasty. First we say about Slave dynasty. It's ruled from 1206 to 1290. Muslim rule in India was established by Muhammad Ghori in 12th century. As he had no son, special slaves called Pandahan. Pandahan means a Persian term used for slave purchased for military service. These slaves were posed as governors and they were later raised to be states or sultans. After Ghori's death in 1206, one of his slaves, Qutbuddin Aibak, who had been left behind by Muhammad Ghori to govern the territories he had conquered, proclaimed himself ruler of the Turkish territories in India. He laid the foundation of the slave dynasty. This dynasty is also known as Mamluk dynasty. Mamluk is an Arab word meaning is slave. The three great sultans of this dynasty are Qutbuddin Aibak, Shamsuddin Iltutmish and Ghiyasuddin Balban. The slave dynasty ruled over the subcontinent for about 84 years. First we see about the first ruler of Qutbuddin Aibak. He is the founder of slave dynasty. Qutbuddin Aibak began his rule by establishing Lahore as the capital of his kingdom. Later he shifted his capital to Delhi. He was active all through his rule in Delhi, conquering new territories and suppressing rebellions. He personally led military campaigns to the central and western Indo-Gangetic plain, that is North India, and left the conquest of the eastern Gangetic plain to the care of Bakhtiyar Khalji. Aibak built to Quwwat-ul-Islam Masjid in Delhi. The mosque is considered to be the oldest in India. He also laid the foundation of the Qutb Minar, but he was unable to complete it. It was later finished by his son-in-law and successor Iltutmish. Aibak died in 1210. Aibak's son Aram Shah proved incompetent and so the Turks noble chose Iltutmish, the son-in-law of Aibak, as the Sultan. He ruled from 1210 to 1236, who served a military commander of Aibak. Iltutmish firmly established his control over the territories by suppressing rebellions. In order to counter the possible attack of the Mongols, Iltutmish organized Turks nobility into the select group of 40 nobles known as Sahal Khani or the 40. Iltutmish granted Iqdas, that is land, to members of his army. Igda is the land granted to army officials in lieu of a regular wage. The Igda holder is called the Igdadar, who had to provide the Sultan with military assistance in times of war. The Igdadar collected revenue from his Igda to meet the cost of maintaining his troops and horse. Iltutmish completed the construction of the Qutub Minar, which had been started by Aibak. Iltutmish died in April 1236 after ruling for 26 years. As the most capable son of Iltutmish, Rukuddin Firoz was dead. Iltutmish nominated his daughter Razia Sultana as his successor of the throne of Delhi. She is ruled from 1236 to 1240. She was an able and brave fighter, but she had a thought time with Turkish noble as she favored non-Turkish nobles. She also faced the situation of the ferocious Mongols raiding Punjab during her reign. Razia made an Ethiopian slave named Jalaluddin Yahut as her personal attendant and started trusting him completely. This led to a revolt of the Turks nobles who conspired against her and got her murdered in 1240. After Razia, 3 weak rulers in succession ascended the throne. After them came Ghiyasuddin Balban. He is ruled from 1266 to 1287. Balban abolished the 40 as it was hostile to him. He established a department to spies to gather intelligence about the conspirators and the troublemakers against his throne. He dealt with insubordinate and defiance of royal authority. Tughril Khan, a provincial governor in Bengal who raised a banner of revolt against Balban, was captured and beheaded. He was ruthless in dealing with enemies like Mias of Mewar, a Muslim Rajput community from northern western India. Balban, however, took care to maintain cordial relationship with the Mongols. He obtained from Hulagu Khan, a grandson of Genghis Khan and the Mongol viceroy in Iran, the assurance that Mongols would not advance beyond Sutlej. Balban built forts to guard his empire against the Mongol attacks. He patronized the famous Persian poet Amir Khusro. Balban died in 1287. Balban's son Kayhubad turned out to be weak. In 1290, Malik Jalaluddin Khalji, the commander of the army, assumed the office of naib, the deputy of the Sultan, and ruled the kingdom in the name of Kayhubad. Then one day Jalaluddin sent one of his officers and had Kayhubad murdered. Jalaluddin then formally ascended the throne, with him behind the rule of Khalji dynasty. Next we go to see about Khalji dynasty. It's ruled from 1290 to 1320. The first ruler of Jalaluddin Khalji. He was the founder of Khalji dynasty. There were many military campaigns during the reign of Jalaluddin, but they were mostly organized and led by his nephew, Alauddin, the governor of Kara. The significant military expedition was against the Deccan kingdom Devagiri. Alauddin, after defeating the Yadava king Ramachandra, plundered the city and returned with huge wealth. Alauddin tragically killed Jalaluddin after buying of the prominent nobles and important commanders with the wealth he had brought from the Deccan and declared himself as the Sultan of Delhi in 1296. The next ruler, Alauddin Khalji. He was ruled from 1296 to 1316. Alauddin Khalji consolidated the Delhi Sultanate. The range of his conquest is impressive. In the Punjab, in Rajasthan and in Gujarat. With his northern frontiers secure, they sent his chief Lieutenant Malik Kafur into the southern parts, who took even the distant Madurai in 1310. The Yadava of Devagiri, the Kahityas of Warangal, the Hoysalas of Dwarasamudra and Pandyas of Madurai accepted Alauddin's sovereignty. Alauddin's political and administrative reforms were the impressive and his military conquest. Alauddin undertook a survey of the agrarian resources around his capital and fixed a standard revenue demand. He entrusted the task of collecting the revenue to the military officers. These measures deprived the local chiefs and rajas of their time memorial privileges. Alauddin died in 1316. The failure of his successors to retain power led to the seizure of power by Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, who founded the Tughlaq dynasty. The next dynasty of Tughlaq dynasty. The founder of Tughlaq dynasty is Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. One of the major tasks of Ghiyasuddin as the Sultan was recover the territories that the Sultanate had lost during the turmoil following the death of Alauddin. Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq sent his son Jauna Khan to fight against Warangal. Jauna Khan defeated Prataparudra of Warangal and returned with the rich booty. With this looted wealth, Ghiyasuddin is said to have laid the foundation of the city. Tauladabad near Delhi. However, as Alauddin killed his uncle, Jauna Khan was said to have killed his father and ascended the throne with the title Muhammad bin Tughlaq in 1325. Muhammad bin Tughlaq ruled from 1325 to 1351. Muhammad bin Tughlaq was a learned man, yet he was a person of curiosity. Alauddin had conquered, looted and left the old ruling families as his dependent. His contrast, Muhammad Tughlaq dreamed to making the whole of the subcontinent his domain, with that view to facilitating extended sovereignty. He shifted his capital from Delhi to the center of the kingdom, namely Devagiri. He also changed its name of Daulatabad. When Muhammad himself decided that the move was a mistake, he ordered to return to Delhi as the capital again. When Ibn Battuta, the Marco Polo traveler who was with the Sultan, returned to Delhi, he found Delhi empty, abandoned and had but a small population. Tughlaq changed the Alauddin system of revenue collection in grains and ordered that land revenue, which was increased, should henceforward be collected in money. This proved distress during famines. When he discovered that the stock of coins and silver was inadequate from minting, he issued to taken currency in copper. Counterfeiting soon became order of the day, and as a result, the entire revenue system collapsed. Trade suffered as foreign merchants stopped business. This forced Sultan to withdraw the token currency and pay gold and silver coins in exchange. This move led the state to become bankrupt. Tughlaq increased land tax in the Doab region, which peasant revolts, as the revolts were cruelly dealt with peasants, abandoned cultivation, which resulted in the outbreak of frequent famines. Madurai was proclaimed a separate sultan in 1334. Bengal became independent in 1346. Tughlaq died on 23 March 1351. Firoz Shah Tughlaq. He was ruled from 1351 to 1388. Feroz, the son of Ghiyasuddin, younger brother, succeeded Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Feroz could neither suppress revolts nor win back the provinces that had broken away. He also showed no interest in reconquering the southern provinces. He refused to accept an invitation from a Bahmani prince to intervene in the affairs of the Deccan. Feroz rewarded Sufis and other religious leaders generally and listened to their advice. He also created charities to aid poor Muslims, built colleges, mosques, and hospitals. He adopted many humanitarian measures. He banned inhuman punishments and abolished tax not recognized by Muslim law. He promoted agriculture by waiving off the debts of the agriculturalists and constructing many canals from irrigation. He laid out 1,200 new gardens and restored 30 old gardens of Alauddin Khalji. He had built new towns such as Firozabad, Janpur, Hisar, and Firozpur. Despite adopting a peaceful approach and taking efforts to organize the Sultanate well, he had to spend his last days in unhappiness. His own son Muhammad Khan revolted against him, and Firoz Shah died in September 1388 at the age of 83. Taimur invasion 1398. The shaking and massacre by Tamerlan or Taimur of Delhi came a decade after Firoz Shah Tughlaq died. As a ruler of the region around Samarkand in Central Asia, Taimur had occupied some parts in the northern west of India. Taking advantage of India's weakness, he entered India in December 1398 and plundered Delhi, Punjab. Besides, the Delhi city was the province that suffered most by Taimur raid. Taimur, apart from carrying huge wealth in the form of gold, silver, jewels, also took along Indian artisans like carpenters and masons to work on monuments in Samarkand. Next we see about Sayyid dynasty. It's ruled from 1414 to 1451. Though the Sultanate fragmented into a number of independent kingdoms, it endured for 114 years more till the Mughal invasion. Before leaving Delhi, Taimur had left behind his representative Hisar Khan as the governor of the territories he had conquered. He founded the Sayyid dynasty in 1414, which lasted till 1451. The last ruler of this dynasty, Alauddin Alam Shah, abdicated the throne in 1451. This gave Bahal Lodi, then the governor of Sirhind, that is Punjab, the opportunity to become the new Sultan of Delhi, leading to the establishment of Lodi dynasty. Next, we see about the Lodi dynasty. The founder of Lodi dynasty was Bahalol Lodi. Its dynasty ruled from 1451 to 1526. In 1489, Bahal Lodi was succeeded by his son Sikandar Lodi. Sikandar was a patron of arts and learning. He founded the city of Agra and made it his capital. He died in 1517 and was succeeded by his son Ibrahim Lodi, who was defeated by Babur in 1526 in the Panipat battle. Thus, the Lodi dynasty and the Sultanate were ended by Babur. The Islamic art and architecture. The mansion of high-ranking Muslim nobles, soldiers and officials were built first in cities and the neighborhoods. Around them, the mosques in the imperial style were constructed by the successive Muslims in Delhi. Mosques and madras looked architecturally different. The graceful decoration of doorways and walls with lines from the Quran made a distinct appearance in these buildings. The shape of all these buildings was Persian, while the decoration was Indian. So it is called Indo-Saracenic architecture. Kutupinar, Alai Darwala, Kwawul Islam Masjid, Mothi Masjid, the tombs of Iltutmish, Balban and the forts of Daulatabad and Ferozabad were all constructed by this style of art and architecture. Let's see the record. Establishment of Muslim rule in India by Muhammad Ghori. Slave dynasty founded by Qutbuddin Aibak and consolidated by his son-in-law Iltutmish. Razia, the daughter of Iltutmish, a brave fighter and great administrator. Balban's system and the abolition of the 40, the reduced the power of Turkish nobles. Alauddin Khalji, as the founder of Khalji dynasty, his military conquest and administrative reforms. Firoz Shah Tughlaq as a compassionate ruler with the concentration on the well-being of the people. The shaking of Delhi by Taimur. Qazir Khan founded the Sayyid dynasty and Bahal Lodi, governor of Sirhind, establishing the Lodi dynasty. The first battle of Panipat, the way of foundation of Mughal Empire by Babur.